But if you want seeds, don't throw away those big yellow cucumbers. Guten Yardening, everybody! Well, I'm out here beside some of our cucumbers because today's the day that I'm going to take a couple of them and collect their seeds so that we can plant them again next season. Now, the cucumber that I'm in front of right here is called a Sikkim cucumber. And if you've watched any of our earlier videos about our single seed challenge for 2021, then you've seen this kind of cucumber before. But if not, this is probably the most different looking cucumber you've ever seen. It is a reddish brown. It's got these cracks, or at least it looks like it has cracks in them. I think it's fantastically beautiful. What do you think? Now, this Sikkim cucumber is an awesome variety, and when we grew it indoors as a part of that single seed challenge, well, we got a really nice one, or so I thought, and I wanted to collect seeds from them. But you've never seen a video of me collecting cucumber seeds, and the reason for that is when I went to go ahead and harvest that cucumber and collect the seeds, inside there were no seeds mature enough to harvest. Well, today's the day I hope to change that around because this cucumber grew a lot bigger than the one that we grew indoors, and I'm thinking that there should be some mature seeds in there. Now, I left this on the plant as long as I could before I harvest it today. You can see the plant itself is completely dead. So I'm going to pull this off. It came off really easily, and this is the one we plan. I would say this is probably 3 times the size of the other Sikkim cucumber that we grew earlier. So this one I'm ready to harvest, and one of our other cucumber plants, which is also dying back now, I'll say finally, because it was productive, I mean highly productive this year. We left this cucumber on here, again, just about as long as we could. Now, if you've ever wondered why you have yellow, or in this case, really orange cucumbers, or what you should do with them, well, it's not going to taste very good if I try to eat it. But this is what you do. You allow them to mature fully before you collect the seeds. So let's go ahead and cut this one off. And now we have our second cucumber, and I guarantee you there are going to be some nice mature seeds in here. Well, there's a couple different ways that you can collect the seeds from your cucumbers, and I'm going to show you 2 of them today. One of them, I guess, could be called a dry method, and the other one, well, the other one involves water in a jar, a lot like what I do with tomatoes. And so I'm going to show you a little bit of both. They're both really simple and straightforward, and the end result is that you should have some seeds that are going to be well preserved and ready to go for the next season, and maybe a few after that. Well, I've got everything here necessary for seed extraction and for both methods of preserving the seeds. Now, I'm going to save this Sikkim cucumber for second because, well, again, I can't 100% guarantee that there's going to be good seeds in there. I've just got my fingers crossed. So first, I'm going to start with this massive cucumber. Now, there are a couple of different ways that I've seen people cut these down for seed collection. One way is to cut it in half this way and then to dig up through with a spoon. Personally, I think for ease of access of the seeds, I like to just cut right along a vertical line here. And so I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to take my knife, safely of course, and cut through in both directions. All right, now as I open this up, you can see there are a ton of seeds in this one single cucumber, and from what I can tell, they're sticking out here. I'll hold this up so you can see the tips of them sticking out in here. I didn't do any damage to the seeds. They're actually fairly well protected, and I'll show you that as well. Now, if I pull one of these seeds out, you'll notice that it's really slippery and slimy. All right, that is actually a protective measure that cucumbers have to protect the seeds. If this were to fall to the ground and eventually decompose, it would protect the seed from trying to start to germinate during a season when it's not time. So, for example, over the winter, which is typically when this would stop growing. So each of these seeds has its own, we'll call it a gel pack here. I think this one's actually a little bit easier to see, that gel situation. It thoroughly envelops the seed. Now, this gel pack is basically like what you would see if you were harvesting tomato seeds, that same layer on the outside. And again, this protects it over the winter. It will eventually decompose and you're left with the seed inside. I want to show you the difference between a mature cucumber seed, oh, it's really slippery, and an immature cucumber seed. The one on the left is really thin. There's actually not much to it. right here, that's immature, it hasn't fully developed. The one on the right actually has a pretty good thickness to it. You can see from the side it is far thicker than the one on the left. Here, if I can try to turn them both at the same angle, it's a little bit difficult to work with here. All right, so you see the difference there. The color's a little bit deeper. This one on the left that's a little immature is almost translucent. It's almost you can almost see through it. The one on the right, not at all. Now, after a little bit of effort, I've taken the one on the left and the one on the right out of their gel pods there, and you can see the difference between the two. Now, the first thing we have to do, of course, is to get the seeds out of here without damaging them, and this is where a spoon comes in really handy, because it's actually quite easy to take these out with a spoon, and you're not going to cause any damage. Now, the first method of seed preservation is very simple. You would simply lay these out onto a napkin or a paper towel. Probably paper towel is a little bit easier, or even a paper plate, and let them sit for a couple of weeks. That'll cause the gel to dry out, and you'll get nice, fully dried out seeds. And then you just have to worry about scraping them off of the paper towel where they're dried, or the plate, or whatever you put them on. So that's one method. Again, it's a couple of weeks down the road. They'll be dried out plenty, and you can put them away. Now, the second method is my preferred method, and it's actually the same way we handle our tomato seeds. Now, I don't need the lids for these jars. I like to cover them up with some, like a coffee filter or something like that, to let them breathe a little bit. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the seeds and I'm going to scrape them directly into this jar. Now, it's really simple. If I hold the cucumber right over top of the jar, the seeds will just run right down into the water here. Now, the water I've put in here about halfway filled, but what I'm doing by putting it in this water is I'm going to cause that gelatinous casing to dissolve over the next couple of days. So it's an easy way for me to get rid of that casing that I don't need when it comes time to plant. As we continue to harvest seeds from the crops that grow and perform well on our property, they're just going to become more and more acclimated to our growing situation, and they're going to keep increasing and performing better and better. Now, it is possible that you're going to get a little bit of pulp and such in here as you're trying to scrape the seeds in, depending on how careful you want to be or how much time you want to take in care. That's not a problem at all. Again, the seeds will separate out really easily once a couple days have passed, and you're going to start to see a little something on top of this, a little bit of mold come in, and that's just the same, again, as you would see if you were saving tomato seeds. All right, I've got probably an inch worth of seeds in here from that single cucumber, and I'm gonna let this sit for a couple of days, and then I'll check back in and I'll show you what that looks like. But first, let's take a look at our Sikkim cucumber. The moment of truth is upon us. Are we gonna get any seeds out of our Sikkim cucumber? Now, this is key. If we were to buy more Sikkim cucumber seeds, the cost is $4 for 10 seeds. So that's one of the reasons why we want seeds out of here so badly. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut right into this. But first, if you're enjoying this content, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, we'd love to have you as a part of our community. Now, the last time I cut one of these open, I was sorely disappointed. I'm really hoping for better this time. You're going to see it as I see it. Are there going to be any mature seeds inside this? If we get more than 10, we've covered the price of an entire new order of Sikkim seeds. 3, 2, 1. We have way more than 10. And I think, from what I'm seeing here, they are mature. These look fantastic. This, I've got $5 in my hand right there. Look at that, $5 in this spoon that I'm saving. Wow, we've got a ton in here. The exact opposite of what happened last time. This is going to be a huge bonus from getting this one single Sikkim cucumber. Well, I gotta be honest with you, I am very relieved. I was actually a little bit concerned that we weren't going to get the same seed development that we got from our other cucumber. I was afraid we weren't going to get what we wanted, but we did, and this means a lot of savings. Saving money is a huge benefit to seed saving, in addition to, again, growing those fruits and vegetables that are better acclimated to your specific growing medium. Take a look at this up close. Look at all those seeds sticking out there, saving us money. All right, it's been just over a week since I put these seeds in these jars, and I'm going to show you how they progressed and then how we finish up this seed saving technique. All right, so for this one, I'm just going to focus in on my Sikkim cucumber seeds because I want to show you how many of those we got. And you'll notice that I have just an old coffee filter on top instead of the metal lid. And the reason for that is there's going to be gas escaping during this process, and you don't want to build up pressure inside. So I'm going to take the lid off here, and you'll probably see a little bit, I'll show you down in here. You might see a little bit of mold growing in here. There you go, right off to the side there. That is not a problem, that's to be expected. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to rinse these off, and I'm going to do that just by pouring this out into a strainer so I catch all of my seeds here. And you can see, well, let me rinse it off first and I'll show you what they look like up close now. And the reason I'm rinsing them off like this is, well, to get any gel that might have stayed on them, but also they don't smell the best when they've fermented like this. And now we can see the difference. Here are some that are not going to be viable. They are just thin, paper thin, basically, nothing much to them. And then we have our main ones, which are no longer slippery at all. All of that gel coating is completely gone, and they'll be really easy to pull off of here whenever they've dried out. And drying out just takes a few days, really. For our Sikkim cucumber seeds, we have, from my count, 161 what appear to be viable seeds. That means at $4 per 10 seeds, which we would normally pay, we've got about $64 worth of seeds right here from one Sikkim cucumber. And if this isn't a reason to collect cucumber seeds, especially from exotic varieties, as long as they're open pollinated or heirloom, I really don't know what is. This is a fantastic harvest of seeds, and really the work that goes into it is not very much. It's not labor intensive, it just takes a little bit of time. And now that I'm gonna let these set out until they dry out fully, the next step is just putting them into our seed saving bags, which is what we use, just little plastic bags for ours, and they're gonna save for years to come. And remember, the seeds that we save from the plants that grow well this year are likely going to grow well or even better than they did this year in the future as they adapt to our soil more and more. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. And if you did, don't forget to give us a like, leave us a comment, remember to share, and if you haven't already, subscribe. And most importantly, remember, when you're with us, you are good to grow.